What up? Welcome back to the pod. Y'all are just checking in with your two favorite people on the internet or wherever you actually listening to. I just assume y'all are YouTubing this, but either way, we are here to just check in with each other. You are joined by everybody's favorite uncle, yours truly, Uncle Don Don, and my virtual half, Still Waters Run Deep. What's your shirt say?
Still water, quiet life. Protect the ponds.
Okay, so my proverb brother, Paul, aka.
Mr. Qualified, how y'all doing? Yeah, I spoke to the man them over there on the other side of the pond, and they let me know they need to be protected.
Mm,
So yeah, we'll go with that.
got you.
What's going on with your brother? How you been this week, man?
What's going on? Absolutely nothing. How I been this week floating? Yeah, I've lost my ability to care, which means I've had no motivation or no effort and all detachment all week. So just be happy I'm not in my pajamas.
That's real. Is that a freeing feeling or is that a restrictive feeling?
I don't feel restricted, but it's not necessarily freeing. It just feels kind of lethargic, plastic bag floating through the wind, very Katy Perry style.
That makes sense. That's super real. I feel that. Does the travel you have planned change any of that?
I'm hoping that it does. I'm hoping that I'm actually, because I'm about to go to a wedding, that when I get back, I won't be trip tired. I'll actually be energized from seeing and experience something new and wanting to like start a new month off with different energy. That is what I'm hoping for. But I am actually dreading having to go out of town because I forgot about it. Um, so this wasn't in my mental plan. Like you know me, I pack ahead of time, get everything out. I still haven't packed. I just took the suitcase out yesterday and it's sitting at me fully zipped with no clothes in it. So, I need to shave, I need to wash my hair, I need to pack and do a lot of things in the next essentially 18 hours. So we'll see how things go when I get back. But nothing too much exciting on my end. How's your week?
It's been an interesting one. Can't say it's been bad. Definitely hasn't been great. I'll try to convince myself that it's been good, decent, Chicago decent, as y'all like to use. It's been all right. I think I'm not floating, but I am very much definitely trying to tread water though. Definitely trying to figure out how to stay afloat, I should say. So that's my water analogy for my week. But yeah.
Fair. You know what? I can't even say that I'm floating because that insinuates I'm actually in motion and movement. I'm more of like that rock that's just peeking out the water, that the
Mm.
water's hitting and it's just going whatever and does what it wants to do. That's me. I'm the rock. The water's just hitting me and I'm like, hydration.
That's fair. I feel like you kind of been there for hmm, a minute, respectively, however people want to measure time in that regard, but it's been a little while. All right, you okay?
So you're listening, huh? I
Yeah,
see.
I am. I try to, you know.
Um, I don't know. I don't know. I gotta shake this little demon up off me because I don't like it. I was on a roll. Um, I know the summer was chaos for a number of reasons and not all bad. I know that there was a lot that went into planning my birthday. I lost my second job that I had, so that has impacted my productivity and my pocket. So yeah, it's just probably a whole lot. I had to figure it out, but as of right now, I ain't got it.
That's real. Yeah, nah, it's game of runs, as always, you know. You'll bounce back and it's we still got a little bit over a quarter to go. So you know you got time to turn it around, make a comeback, as they say. But Yeah, no, I was actually having a conversation with a friend yesterday. And ironically, just a timely conversation as well, from this particular friend, but something he mentioned as we was just like catching up, kind of talking about some life things, XYZ. He was telling me about like micromanaging some of those emotions that come and go, and like some of the things that can fluctuate in seasons of being that rock or in seasons of treading water. And I don't think I had ever looked at it as like micromanaging like your own emotions. I just don't think I've ever like used that word to describe it, but it kind of made me think and want to ask you, do you feel like there is anything that you micromanage in your life that you are aware of? Like, do you do it consciously or anything like that?
Um, I'm not a micromanager. I don't like to micromanage because I don't like to hover
Mm,
in any aspect. I also don't like to repeat myself. So I feel like a part of micromanaging is saying like do this, do that, or if it's internally like with emotions, it's like okay, like cut this off and this small thing here has a larger impact or something like that. I don't have the energy. I never did have the energy to micromanage. I do like things done what I deem the right way
mm,
or my way, but I can bend.
yep.
So I'm not super stuck in that, but God, no, I'm allergic to the word micromanage.
Yeah, no, that makes sense for you. Very fitting. I don't know if I would consider myself a micromanager. I am an overthinker. I do think there is a logistical way that most things can be done. I'm a huge fan of efficiency. So there's a certain perspective where it it might manifest as micromanaging because in my mind I'm trying to be as productive as possible with figuring out whatever it is that I'm trying to figure out or push through or navigate or grow from or heal, whatever. So I think it manifests in that way, but I don't think naturally I'm a micromanager. But the way that he kind of put things, it was this idea that like things are gonna be nostalgic, and all things that are nostalgic are not always happy. I won't say positive, but they're not always happy. Sometimes they can be sad. Sometimes they can be daunting in a way, depending on what the thing is and depending on how you feel about said thing. But essentially, it's not staying there. Like give it its moment, feel what you need to feel, release it however you need to release it. But what I kind of took away from the conversation was not micromanaging like how you do that, nor trying to control things about that process that you don't have control of, which is the majority of that process, as is most things. But yeah, like I said, the micromanaging piece, because it had never been framed in that way, was interesting for me. So I was curious if you had ever felt that that was a thing, or if hearing it in that way might have sparked something from you as well.
I think if hearing you say that, if I had to say anything, the only thing that I have micromanaged in like the last 3 years recent life is my finances.
Mm,
Um, but or maybe let's go 4 years because that's when I was really broke. Um, it was just like every penny that went out of my pocket or my account. I was like, oh, nope, that changed my budget. Oh, nope, that changed my budget. Oh, I can't do this because I went and bought a bag of chips. I wonder how much money I have left in my account. Like, no exaggeration, right? So I feel like at some point I micromanaged my finances. Oddly enough, Wanda was like, "So how we doing with that now?" She asked me that in our last session recently, and I was like, "It's funny you say that. I don't think that I have been doing it, but now that I don't have that second job, I'm more aware of my money because I don't have that additional income coming in. But other than that, I don't really think I micromanage because I was listening to you say that, and I feel like a part of micromanaging like internally or oneself has to do with discipline. And I've spoken very publicly about feeling not that discipline is a part of my lexicon or lifestyle.
mm,
So maybe my finances. Hopefully, nothing really past that.
Yeah. Now I think that's yeah, I think micromanaging discipline is an interesting dynamic. I guess that depends on if you see micromanaging as positive or negative. I guess there are aspects where it's maybe not necessary, but it can be beneficial. Like if I take it outside of the personal context, like I hate being micromanaged at work, but one thing I had to learn was sometimes, depending on the supervisor, depending on how it's done, it can be beneficial if a person is willing to buy into like building the habits. Because sometimes I think when you're trying to build habits and you're trying to build something to be sustainable, it has to be micromanaged. Um, so like I think about that like with qualified, like qualified in a lot of ways has to be micromanaged. More so because in my mind at least, like for things to be sustainable, for me to feel like the foundation is solid, there are things I have to be particular about. Now I don't have to be an asshole about that, but the idea that those details matter, and being able to express that or communicate that, is very much relevant. But emotions and things that we deal with, kind of going back to that objectivity and subjectivity point, emotions are not a thing that you can do that with. They're the worst thing to try to micromanage, actually, because yeah, you can learn to control them or navigate them, but you're gonna feel emotions regardless, and they're gonna hit you out of nowhere 8.5 times out of 10. So trying to micromanage it is just creating more stress, and stress is stress, regardless of how you look at it. So yeah, but no, that is an interesting relationship, kind of there. But yeah.
And the worst thing to do, speaking for myself, is to have to micromanage somebody else's feelings and emotions.
Mm,
And I say that from a general comment, but then I also understand that I think we was talking about this off camera. Um, my level of emotional intelligence
mm,
is arguably higher than a lot of the people I interact with. It's what I do for work, right? So it's just it comes with the job. But because of that, I'm just like, okay, here's this potential issue, here's this potential emotion that is usually maybe not always negative, but not like easygoing and just like a positive emotion. I don't feel like you micromanage happiness, right?
right. Yeah.
Um, so it's just like, I mean, yeah, I guess you could, but like there's some negative like implications that come on with everything else. So I just feel like having to navigate other people's emotions, and maybe that's why I'm tapped out. Just I I want to believe it when I say that I don't care. But I do have a certain level of care and stuff that's going on personally or professionally.
Mm.
But you got to meet me somewhere, and preferably it halfway in the middle. But if I just get the sense of these are just emotions that you were just experiencing and doing nothing with, but then bringing them to me,
Mm.
mum's the word. I'm not talking to you no more. And I feel like that's just the cycle I've been in for the last few months. So maybe that's what it is. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Maybe I need to start charging you a little copay too. Give you
All
and one.
right. I mean, that is the career I'm trying to get into. So I appreciate that vote of confidence, good brother. No, but no, that's extremely real, man. Kind of happy you said that too, because that very much speaks to the larger picture. What I feel like I was speaking to, just like in our initial check-in. But yeah, man, like micromanaging other people's emotions until you're really to the emotional intelligence point. Um, Emotional intelligence can manifest in a lot of different ways, obviously. But I think that at its core, emotional intelligence is expanded capacity, essentially, because it's the room for you to process and manage your emotions, and capacity built by a willingness to try to do it for others. Whereas there are a lot of people that don't even make the attempt. So, when that's innate and when you're doing that naturally, um, after a while it starts to tally up. Like it may not feel that way immediately, but after a while, kind of to what I feel like you are speaking to, you start to get the sense that like, all right, like I hear you, big dog. I feel you. Trust me, I do. I empathize, but you you're not giving me nothing. except except what you're giving me. And is that you know, I can only pour so much. You know what I mean? So that's definitely real. And that can get exhausting, that can get tiring, and it can be draining. So yeah, that I mean, that would give context to how you've been feeling.
It's given death by a thousand cuts.
Mm, yeah.
That's what it feels like. Like it's not these one instances aren't bad and they're not day ruiners or mood ruiners or whatever. But then when you sit and be like, okay, that's like 11 things going on. And you're like, oh, okay, now I feel the weight of it, So it's given death by a thousand cuts. And I joke all the time and say like, oh, I need an adult. And no shade or disrespect to anybody that is currently in my life. Um, but I need somebody that I don't currently have.
Mm,
I'm missing the adult. I'm missing that forceful hand, that motivating like push that I need a drill sergeant right now because I'm not self-motivated. And at this point, being busy was keeping me motivated because I had so many things going on. Um, but now I have some less things going on, and I also don't care about the things I have going on. So even the amount of free time, no, the amount of available time that I've had this week, I could have spent running. I could have spent in the gym. I could have spent like active, just going for a walk. And instead, I'm just like, well, just gonna sit here. I'm not gonna do anything. I'm gonna watch TV. I'm gonna do this. I'm rotting, right? And at one point, it's welcome to be like, you know what? Rest, pause the world for a little bit, and then you realize 5 days have gone by and you've done exactly that. Just that. So like, yeah, I need an adult. I need somebody support and push and guidance in a way that I do not currently have from everybody in my circle right now. Um, yeah.
that is very real. You have coined that phrase, so I will never take that away from you, good brother. And I've never framed it like needing an adult, but I definitely understand that figure. I would like to consider myself a pretty self-motivated. For the most part, I'm pretty good at getting myself going, like pushing myself to do things. Um, but that can get tiring. And I think for me, it has started to feel very lonely. And I hate saying it. Like I hate admitting that it feels lonely because it's like in doing that, it also solves nothing. Like, me admitting it doesn't change, nor do I want that to be the reason why anybody would be like, oh, dang, that's how you feel. How can I help? Because do I have to cry for help? For people who are in my life, for people who are supposed to be fixtures to know, and that I think I don't like admitting it because I don't ever want to feel like I don't understand that people got their own lives to live. People got their own things, going on. So it is never me not being understanding, but it is me getting to a point where we all got choices,
Right.
and while it may not be about taking it personal, because it never is, right? But a choice is still a choice. So at the end of the day, like I still gotta figure out what to do, with the choices that have been made and move accordingly. So
Mm.
definitely interesting space to navigate. But yeah, death by a thousand cuts. Message, title,
Title.
title for sure. That was my
I
first thought.
took it.
But but yeah, and it's so interesting. And for me, this is something that I feel like I brought up to you before, and I'm wondering if you kind of feel the same. But this all ties into something I saw earlier today. Are you familiar with Kier Gaines by chance? Therapist, like he's on social media. Uh,
Not by name.
if you saw him, you probably be like, I've seen him before. Nonetheless, he had this recent video about leadership. And it was just really kind of eye-opening and interesting for me because leadership is based in failure. Great leadership is based in failure. that's me kind of paraphrasing, but it's the idea that like you can't become a great leader until you failed, until you've got it wrong, until you've realized kind of all the different ways things can go left so you can know how to steer the ship right no matter what happens. And it's also not about dominance as much as respect. And the way that what we've been talking about has tied into that for me is I've always defined my leadership by the things that we're talking about, by my capacity, by my emotional intelligence, by my ability to not take things personal, but also by my ability to feel like I'm gaining and garnering the respect of people in my life. Yes, but the people I, work with, things of that nature. And I think one of my life goals is to be a great leader. Part of that is because I desire it. Part of that is because in some way, form, or fashion, I think it has been asked of me. Um, but I want to be really intentional about that. But I'm curious, your thoughts on leadership and the idea of it being about respect and not dominance, and the idea of how failure plays into making great leadership.
100%. I think all great leaders have had failures that they have learned from and come back from. I always say that I either win or learn. I don't lose. I might not get something, I might not have accomplished something the way that I thought, but I won't consider that loss or, failure, yes, but like I didn't lose anything. I'm learning in this situation because then I apply it and go back to it. So I can confidently say, with this many years of life experience, this many years of professional experience, I do feel that I'm a good leader. Um, I'm leading from a place of having experiences, and
Yeah.
the experiences that I don't have, I'm asking, about to still seek out so I can fill those things in. So I'm constantly learning, but I loathe leaders who feel that they have to lead by way of dominance.
Yeah.
That annoys me. That is sadly where we are currently in America with, the Cheeto man poorly leading the country. But also, I'm a fan of Survivor, right? So not to talk about him because I definitely don't want to. But some of my favorite players in the game, whether they have won or lost, they weren't like dominant in the way that it was negative. It wasn't like to put somebody down and condescending and dominant in the sense of fear. I do not like the players that play and say like, you listen to me, I have control. This is why ultimatum. That's not a leader.
Yeah.
You can argue that a dictator is a leader, but that's not a good one.
Right.
But like that's not a leader to me. So that dominance, that shit can go out the window.
Yeah, no, it's definitely cooked. And to me, that doesn't define leadership at all. Like dominance has nothing to do with leadership whatsoever. Because I think leadership is about the pack. Leadership is about the expansion and the evolution of everybody. Like as a leader, you are defined by the people you are leading or the thing that you are leading. So if that product or if whatever is trash, or shitty, then that defines the leadership. It don't matter whether you got the power or the control or whatever, but are you creating opportunities for others? So yeah, but I definitely second that. You've been a great leader for some time, ever since I've known you, really. I've seen it in action. I feel like I've seen it evolve, in some ways, just as time and life has went on. But yeah, no, definitely something to um model after and aspire to be, because you lead from those experiences. You've never been shy about talking about your low points or your failures. And I think that's how you gain the respect of people who have come after you, or who you have led, because they know you've been through it. They know you've seen it. So I think that always helps when somebody is being guided, to know that their guide has seen what they are likely to see or may encounter, in whatever capacity. So yeah, man. Yeah, man. Continue to be great, dog.
I appreciate that. Yeah, no, I appreciate and receive that for real. The way you described it, leadership is a muscle. Like I think a lot of things are muscles that need to be exercised. I think part of getting back to our like check-in conversation, I don't know who or what I'm leading anymore at the
Mm.
moment. I don't know that I'm really exercising my leadership abilities and skills the way that I could, should, or would like. So that I think is adding to the stagnation that I'm feeling at this current moment in time. So, what a lull of a period this is, because I'm a doer, I'm a mover, I'm a shaker, and I ain't doing, I ain't moving, and I ain't shaking right now. So, leadership's on pause.
No, that's very real. And yeah, like the more context that's given, the more it kind of makes sense because that does, and you kind of spoke about it last episode too, like that aspect of purpose. And I think leadership to me is a part of your purpose in some way, form, or fashion. So kind of not having that thing that is inherently like your thing to lead, which you've like definitively had in the past. Yeah, it can definitely feel like a, in my word at least, void, so to say, or something, something like that. But yeah, definitely a lull, and the lulls suck. Oh my God, terrible. Jesus, any capacity.
Boo!
Tomato, 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 tomato. But you know, as we check out, man, just being in again this time, this season, this low period. What are we taking away, and what are we striving to do moving forward?
Um, check out of this conversation, but don't check out of the fight.
Mm.
And that is what I have to keep telling myself. Like checking out of this conversation is a pause, but I'm not one to give up. So I'm gonna sit in this for a minute and be like, oh, but I'm not gonna give up. So yeah, uh that's my 2 cents for the day.
No, that's real. Honestly, I echo those sentiments, and it kind of just goes back to like what I said. My homie was saying like never be afraid to like sit in your moments. But I think sitting in seasons can be very, very dangerous. So again, like just not giving up on the fight, understanding it's a long fight, understanding that it's a game of runs. There's always an opportunity to bounce back. There's always your time and your moment, to bounce back. So patience, is key. Discipline in whatever way, you deal and navigate that is key. But we all gonna be all right. As one popular artist once said before. Uh, but yeah, but until then, and until the next time, we'll catch in. Wow, we'll catch up with y'all on the next episode. See, clearly we need to check out for real because too much low period is getting to us. But we'll catch y'all on the next episode, man. Peace.
Peace.